All right, we're trying something new today. I told you I'm coming back now after having let my split peas fast soak. And let me grab those off the stove. I don't know if you can see how they swelled up so nicely. And they've just been sitting there for an hour or two on the stove. Now here's a trick that I learned to help reduce gassiness from peas, beans, lentils, things like that. It has to do with the sugars that come out of them. And so if you rinse them well at every stage of the process, like at the beginning we washed them, and now that we've soaked them, I'm going to wash them again, because that helps get rid of those sugars that can cause gassiness. And since doing that, like, you know, because I'm not 100% Gerson anymore, even off Gerson, if I use some canned organic beans, I always rinse them really good at the beginning, and it's really helped a lot with both my husband and myself. It's just not an issue anymore. We have no problem eating beans, and we don't have any gassiness. Of course, we've been doing it for over a year now, and that helps too, the longer you've been doing it. But the tip that I learned about giving them a really good rinse has made a big difference. And so I do that with, in Gerson, you're allowed to have split peas, and you're allowed, after 6 months, you're allowed to have lentils. I think it's like once every 2 weeks. It's not very often, but you know, you can have a little bit after 6 months. So I'm just giving these a good rinse. I'm going to get rid of that excess sugar. And I've made this before using my Instant Pot as a slow cooker. I'm not using Instant Pot today because it's actually faster if I cook it on the stove. You know, there's 3 ways you can cook it. You can do it in your slow cooker, and it's going to take all day or all night. You can do it on your stove top, and it's going to take a couple hours. Or you can do it in a pressure cooker. But if you're Gerson, you're not doing pressure cooker. We're not allowed to do pressure cooker in Gerson. So I'm just going to do this on the stove top, okay? Get that all in there. There we go. There's my pot of peas. And you know what's funny? I think these are a prettier color because a lot of people are put off by split pea soup because of the color, because it's green. I don't care. I think green split peas have more flavor than yellow split peas. I've noticed in cooking them, the yellow split peas are a little bit blander, but that's actually going to make a good backdrop, because this time I'm going to put in a bay leaf and carrot, celery, and onion, and just a little bit of cabbage, because of the just like when I put cabbage in my mashed potatoes, it adds a little more richness of flavor. I'm looking for a little more richness of flavor here, so I'm going to put just a little bit of cabbage in. But I'm going to show you, I'm trying something new today, and we'll try it together and see how it works, okay? I'm going to put this on the stove. All right, I'm going to try a process that's called wet chopping, and I'm using my blender. I actually have one of those high-powered Vitamix blenders, and I have 2 stalks of celery that I've just cut coarsely into about 3-inch long sticks. And I cut up 2 carrots, again, just kind of chunked them so that I can toss them in here. And then I'm going to throw in, it's half of a large onion, so it's the equivalent of like 1 medium onion. And I'm going to chunk that up too. And I had another little chunk of onion left from something else, so I'm going to toss that in too. Might as well use it up. And this is just my little handful of cabbage, just like when I put it in the potatoes, okay? Just that little handful of cabbage. Now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the water that I'm going to add to my soup. I'm going to add it to this. And that's what makes it a wet chopping. If I were to just put my blender on like this, it would just end up pureeing everything. And I don't want pureed vegetables. I want chopped vegetables. So if you add the water to it, and it doesn't take long, you'll see, it's amazing. It takes like 2 seconds to chop it up. It's crazy how fast it is. But since I've been starting to do this, it really has been pretty neat. So hang on. It'll be just noisy for a couple seconds. I'm going to turn it up. I'm putting it at about a 6, and then I'm going to pulse it. There we go. That's it. It looks like it chopped it pretty finely too. Probably finer than it needed to be, but it is what it is. Now I'm going to put the strainer over my soup pot and collect all that liquid into my soup and keep the vegetables back. So let me see if I can bring you with me, okay? See how we do this. This is what happens when I don't have my photographer with me. There we go. You can see everything there, can't you? Yep. Look at that. Look how all the vegetables are chopped. That's amazing. That's amazing. It's all like they're nicely grated. This is one of the tricks I have learned to make a delicious savory split pea soup. And that is I saute my vegetables with an herb blend, and it really gives it flavor. It's really yummy. And what I like to use are the herbs that you would typically find in a blend of herbs called poultry seasoning, okay? So it has marjoram and thyme and sage. And putting those herbs in there, sauteing them with the vegetables, really gives a richness of flavor to your split pea soup. And what I'm doing is I'm just squeezing out some of the water so I don't have to, so the vegetables don't, what do I want to do? I want them to saute. I don't want them to simmer. So I'm squeezing some of the water out. I can remember on the Gerson therapy, there are some days it was hard to get warm. I think it's because of all the juicing that we're doing, and our body is so, when you're detoxing and when you're healing, it takes a lot of energy from your body, and it just doesn't have energy to go to keeping you warm as well. I'd be going around in sweatshirt and slippers and layers trying to get warm. A nice hearty warm soup like this is nice to have. And the split pea soup is one that you can have frequently. You don't have to limit how often you have split pea soup. You can have that as often as you like. It's not like the lentils. You can have split pea soup anytime you want. There we go. Now let me get my herbs going. So what I did is I selected the ingredients that are in poultry seasoning. And there's a couple of things in a poultry seasoning blend we're not allowed to have. And one of those is black pepper. So I couldn't use just poultry seasoning. I forget what else. There's something else in there we're not allowed to have. Okay, let me read that list to you. You can have thyme, sage, marjoram, rosemary. This calls for nutmeg. I use a dash of mace. It has black pepper in it, and that's the one thing we're not going to use. And you know what? I'm going to use a little scoop of my buttery blend in this because I think that's going to taste good in there. That has the thyme and the onion powder, but that little bit of the turmeric in there, I think it's going to give it a little bit of that savory. So I'm going to use, what is that? That's about a half a teaspoon of that in there as well. If you haven't seen this recipe, I just listed this one just the other night. It's called butter replacement, I think, butter replacement or buttery blend. I forget now what I called it. You know what? Check it. Let me find. And a bay leaf. You know what? I'm going to stick a bay leaf in my pot of soup here too. And those are little. Let's see if there's anything else. Oh, here's my sage. Here's my sage. And there's my mace. There it is. Alright, so I'm just going to put a dash of mace in there. You don't want too much, because that's kind of a strong flavor. Okay, a couple dashes. You can always come back for more, can't we? Okay, here's the onion powder. Garlic powder. Sage. And I'm opening up the one that lets you put more in there. Woo! There, give it a good dose of sage. Thyme. This is the ground thyme. is the leafy thyme. And I'm opening it up so I can dump that one too. Oops, that one. All right, the soup's been simmering for probably an hour to an hour and a half. I kind of lost track. I wasn't paying attention. But it's nice. It's broken down. It's not like totally creamy, but it's very broken down. Like if you wanted to eat it this way, you could. You could definitely eat it. It's soft enough. I like my split pea soup really creamy. So I'm going to use my Immersion Blender, which I really like. This, what is this brand? This is a Cuisinart. Not that you have to have that, but somebody always asks, what do you have? This is a Cuisinart. And I really like this as opposed to putting it into a blender, like a regular blender or my Vitamix, because that can get dangerous, you know, with that speed releasing the energy from the heat of the soup. Sometimes the lid can fly off, and I've seen other people online who say, oh, just cover it with a towel. Well, my goodness, I don't want to be cooking with something that dangerous. So I really like the Immersion Blender for doing something that's hot, because it's not dangerous. And what I'm going to do, I'm trying to bring it where you can see this, but I want it off the heat. I'm not going to do this while it's on the heat either. I took it off the heat, and I'm going to move you back so you can see what I'm doing, okay? There, that looks good. Yeah, it's pretty, you can kind of see it. There we go. And that looks really nice and nicely cooked. And I ended up not putting my vegetables in. I thought, you know what, why have them get cooked to death? They already got cooked when I sauteed them with the herbs. So I just cooked the peas until they were done. I just took the 2 bay leaves out, and now I'm going to puree it, okay? There, that looks good. It did spit on me a little bit. I got a little bit of soup spattered on me. And now I'm going to add the sauteed vegetables in. You know what this tastes like? The vegetables with all those herbs in there? It tastes like stuffing. It tastes like stuffing that you'd put in a, you know, in a turkey or something. So if you're looking for a nice side dish, and you want to kind of remember the flavors of those days and not have turkey, not have chicken, this is really delicious. Tastes just like stuffing. You could even mix some quinoa in with it and make it a nice side dish. Well, it wouldn't be a side dish, that'd be your main dish. You'd eat that. Eat that, a nice baked potato to go with it. That would be good. There, no, there's all my herbs, and that smells really good. And it's nice and thick. And I can't quite stand a spoon in it. Let me see, I'll bring it over so you can see. Can you see that? It smells delicious. So dinner's ready. I've got just a couple more minutes till our sweet potato fries are done. I think we'll start with our soup, and then we'll have our fries and a salad to go with that for dinner tonight. So I hope you give that a try. I think you're really going to like the split pea soup. It's a little different than the green split pea soup that I've shown you before, because this has all the herbs and the vegetables in it. And it's one you can do on the stove top instead of your slow cooker. So it's just another option. All right, I hope you enjoy. We'll see you another time. Bye-bye.